In the previous video, we were discussing about nutrition in humans. We had already discussed about some parts of the alimentary canal, that is mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, and esophagus. In this video, we are going to discuss about the other parts of the alimentary canal. We already know that the esophagus is followed by the stomach. So, firstly, we are going to talk about the stomach. When we talk about the structure of a stomach, it is a J-shaped organ and it is elastic, bag-like and muscular structure. If you see here in the diagram, it looks somewhat like a J and it is bag-like. That means it can store food in it. It is elastic. That means it can stretch and come back to a normal position or its normal size. And it is made of muscles, so it is muscular structure. Now if you see on the top is esophagus. That brown colored tube is esophagus, and esophagus opens into the stomach. Between the esophagus and stomach, there is a sphincter which is known as lower esophageal sphincter. This is also known as cardiac sphincter. At the end of the stomach, when it opens into the small intestine, another sphincter is present which is called pyloric sphincter. Sphincters are special muscles that are going to regulate the entry or exit of something. So over here, because it contains food, so these sphincters are going to regulate the entry and exit of food. Once the food enters into the stomach, both the lower esophageal sphincter and pyloric sphincter close, and the food remains in the stomach for about 4 to 5 hours. And then the several enzymes that are present in the stomach are going to act on that food. In this diagram, lower esophageal sphincter is closed and pyloric sphincter is open. So you can see what a closed sphincter looks like or how it functions. So when food enters into the stomach, both pyloric and lower esophageal sphincter are going to close. So you have to learn these names. These names are important. This was about the structure of a stomach. Now we talk about the digestion in a stomach. It involves physical breakdown and chemical breakdown. Physical breakdown means that no enzymes will be involved, no chemicals will be involved. The muscles of the stomach wall, they are going to contract, and because of those contractions, the food is going to mix with the enzymes that are present in our stomach, and churning of food will take place. Because of that, the food is going to break down into smaller pieces, and this helps for the enzymes to act upon them more efficiently. When we come on to chemical breakdown in the stomach, now chemical, as the word states, that there will, so you can understand that there will be certain chemicals that will be involved in this kind of digestion. So over here in our stomach, there are certain glands which are known as gastric glands. These glands secrete gastric juice. Gastric juice contains several chemicals which have different functions. So we are going to talk about them one by one. First component of gastric juice is HCl. HCl, as we know, is an acid, and the pH of HCl that is present in our stomach is 1.4. That means it is highly concentrated. So you can imagine that in the chemistry lab, the concentrated HCl that is kept, when it falls on something, on some cloth or something, it burns that cloth. So it is that acidic, it is that concentrated, and the HCl that is present in our stomach is also highly concentrated. So the first function of HCl is that it kills bacteria, and second function is that it activates an enzyme which is known as pepsin. So there is an enzyme, there is only one enzyme that is present in the stomach. Rather, you can say there is only one enzyme that you are going to study right now in this class. So it activates pepsin. This pepsin is secreted in an inactive form. When we eat something, firstly HCl will be secreted. Then that HCl is going to activate pepsin. In certain cases, especially in those people who very frequently eat fast food or eat very spicy food, the HCl secretion is increased. Because of that increase in HCl in the stomach, acidity is caused. And when acidity is not treated for a very long time, it may lead to formation of ulcers in the stomach. So in the first diagram you can see that ulcers are created, or they have shown ulcer formation in the stomach, and they have given certain symptoms of ulcer like nausea with vomiting, blood vomits, loss of weight, feeling bloated, heart burning sensation, etc. This is a diagrammatic sketch. Now, if you see an endoscopic view of ulcers, this is what it exactly looks like. So you can see the stomach wall has been deteriorated because of the HCl, and you can see blood spots also in the inner wall of the stomach. So it should be treated immediately. Another component of gastric juice is pepsin. Pepsin is for the digestion of protein, and you can remember this by P say pepsin and P say protein. So pepsin is for the digestion of protein. Now we are saying that if HCl content increases, it may lead to acidity and may lead to ulcer formation. Then why in normal conditions these ulcer formation or the inner wall of the stomach does not get damaged by the HCl? This is because there is a layer of mucus that is present just next to the stomach wall. So HCl does not come directly in contact with the stomach because there is a mucus lining that is present in the stomach. So this mucus protects the stomach wall from HCl. There is one more enzyme known as renin, which is mainly present in young children who where the main diet is milk. So this is a milk protein digesting enzyme and mainly present in the children, and its secretion decreases or reduces in old age, and that is why old people or aged people are not able to digest milk very efficiently, most of them. Now let's talk about the small intestine. The stomach is followed by the small intestine, and small intestine is the longest part of alimentary canal. Approximately it is 6 to 6.5 meters in length, and it is highly coiled structure. Complete digestion and most of the absorption takes place in the small intestine. So over here in the diagram you can see that esophagus is there, that is coming from from the pharynx, followed by stomach, and then the stomach is followed by a C-shaped structure which is known as duodenum. It's shown in blue over here in this diagram, followed by peacock green color and then light green color. So these three parts that are shown in color structure, blue, green and peacock green, they have mentioned over there duodenum, jejunum and ileum. These three parts are parts of a small intestine. So this is the whole small intestine, and then that is followed by the large intestine. So small intestine has three parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. In the small intestine also there are some glands present which are known as intestinal glands, and they secrete intestinal juice. Apart from intestinal juice, there are two other glands that pour their secretion into the duodenum. That is the first part of the small intestine that we were talking about over here, blue part of the small intestine. In the starting, in the previous video, I had told you that two associated glands are there in the along with the alimentary canal, that are liver and pancreas. So now we are going to discuss about those because they also pour their secretion into the small intestine. Liver is the largest gland in the body, and liver secretes bile juice. The function of bile is not an enzyme. and its function is emulsification of fat. Now, what is emulsification? Emulsification means breaking down large fat globules into smaller globules to increase the efficiency of enzyme action. So now over here, whatever fat is present, or whatever fat is present in our diet, whatever fat we are taking in, butter, ghee, and all those things, oil, that fat will be broken down into smaller pieces, into smaller globules by the action of bile salts. And when smaller globules are there, it increases the efficiency of enzyme. So the function of bile is emulsification of fat. Second important function of bile is that it makes the food coming from the stomach alkaline. In the stomach, HCl is present, so that means the food present over there will be highly acidic. But when it comes to small intestine, the bile mixes with that food and makes it alkaline, because whatever enzymes are present in the small intestine will act in alkaline pH and not acidic pH. There is a small gland which is known as gallbladder that is also located near the liver, and it is associated with the liver. The bile that is produced in the liver, over here the brown structure is liver, and you can see it is a large sized structure, and on the lower side the green structure is the gallbladder. It is associated with the liver. Whatever bile is produced in the liver goes into the gallbladder, and over there it is stored for some time. It is concentrated over there. Then from the gallbladder, the concentrated bile comes into the duodenum. The yellow or mud-like structure that is shown over there is pancreas. Pancreas is a leaf-like structure. It is leaf-shaped. So now we are going to talk about pancreas. Pancreas is a mixed gland. That means it acts as both an endocrine as well as an exocrine gland. The endocrine part of the pancreas is going to produce hormones, and the exocrine part of the pancreas is going to produce digestive enzymes. It is leaf-like structure, and it secretes pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice contains three enzymes, namely pancreatic amylase, trypsin, and lipase. Earlier we had studied about salivary amylase, and that was for the digestion of carbohydrates, and it was present in the saliva. Over here this is pancreatic amylase. Again, amylase word is there, so it will be for the digestion of carbohydrate. Second enzyme is trypsin. Trypsin is for the digestion of protein, and lipase is for the digestion of fat. So you can notice that lipase is the only enzyme which is secreted for the digestion of fat, and it is the sole enzyme responsible for the digestion of fat. We had already discussed that a small intestine may complete digestion of food takes place. So after the digestion of protein, carbohydrate, and lipid has occurred, the proteins finally are broken down into amino acids, carbohydrates are finally broken down into glucose, and lipids are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. An important thing about a small intestine is that it contains numerous finger-like projections known as villi, and the function of villi is that it increases the surface area for digestion and absorption, and it is also supplied with numerous blood vessels, so that whatever food has been digested, the the absorbed food, digested food can be absorbed into the blood and supplied to various parts of the body. So over here you can see what villi actually look like. They are small finger-like projections like this that are present in the small intestine. So if the small intestine, as we know, there is a lumen where the food is stored. So in the second diagram, second picture, you can see that whatever food we are eating is stored over here in this hollow lumen of the small intestine, and this is how small intestine looks from inside. One more diagram to make it clear. The inner wall of the small intestine contains numerous finger-like projections, and the function of it is to increase the surface area both for digestion as well as absorption. A small intestine in herbivores is longer as compared to carnivores. This is a very important question, and villi is also very important. Now, Herbivores are animals that eat green plants, and carnivores are those animals that eat flesh. Herbivores have a longer small intestine as compared to carnivores. The reason behind is that plant cells take longer time for the digestion of cellulose. We know that plant contain an extra layer which is known as cell wall, and cell wall is made of cellulose, and cellulose takes time for digestion. Animal cell contains only cell membrane, so that does not take that much time. That is why, because herbivores have to digest the cellulose also that they are taking in, that is why their small intestine is longer as compared to carnivores. So we finish off with the small intestine also. Now coming on to the large intestine. Large intestine does not play any role in digestion as such. Whatever undigested and unabsorbed food is present in the small intestine, that is passed on to the large intestine. And over here, only water and salt are reabsorbed. So the main function of large intestine is that the water and salt will be absorbed back. And after that, the unabsorbed, undigested food becomes solid, that is known as feces. So feces are formed, they are temporarily stored by the rectum, and then finally they will be eliminated. Defecation takes place through the anus. Over here again, this is a voluntary action. So anus also contains a sphincter which is known as anal sphincter. So special muscles are there which control the uh, removal of feces from the large intestine. Then dental caries or tooth decay. This is also an important topic. We are often advised to brush twice in a day at least, once in the morning and once before going to bed. There might be some reason to it. The reason is that we are eating food, and that food contains a lot of bacteria also, and those bacteria are generally killed by our saliva. Sometimes when we are not brushing our teeth and the food remains stuck over there in the cusps of the teeth, then the saliva is not able to come directly in contact with the tooth surface. In that condition, the bacteria that is present in the food is going to soften and demineralize the enamel and dentine in the teeth. That lead to formation of cavities which are known as dental caries or tooth decay. Bacteria grows on food particles and multiplies over there, and then a soft, thin and yellowish layer of food debris and bacteria is formed on the teeth. That is known as dental plaque. So over here in the diagram you can see what dental plaque exactly is. When a person does not brushes properly, then the teeth becomes yellow and a thin layer of yellowish plaque is formed over there. So this is dental plaque. And then in that condition, saliva is unable to come in contact with the tooth surface, so the bacteria are not killed. So these bacteria lead to the softening and demineralization of enamel and dentine, and this is known as dental caries or tooth decay. So this is tooth decay that damages your tooth. So we should brush properly at least twice a day. So we finish with nutrition in humans also.